You walk into a modern grocery store, and you expect absolute stability. The aisles are stacked with flawless, uniform produce, completely detached from whatever season it happens to be outside. But out in nature, the reality is a lot more chaotic. The moment a crop is harvested, a biological clock starts ticking, and that vibrant leafy green rapidly begins to break down and rot. If you manufacture a smartphone, you can put it in a box and leave it on a shelf for a year. It remains a smartphone. Agricultural goods lack that stability. They are inherently flawed and highly perishable. Getting food from a rural farm to a dinner plate is a strict, continuous race against death and decay. A decomposing crop left stranded in a distant field holds absolutely zero economic value for a consumer living hundreds of miles away in a city. Agriculture carries three massive natural defects that manufactured goods do not face. First is seasonality. Crops do not mature at a slow, even pace. They ripen all at once, creating massive, unmanageable supply gluts that flood a local area during harvest time. Second, farm goods are incredibly bulky and heavy relative to their price. Moving thousands of tons of raw wheat or potatoes is physically difficult and highly expensive. Third, production does not happen in giant centralized factories. It takes place across millions of isolated, scattered points of origin, managed by small-scale farmers working independently. You have a highly perishable, intensely heavy product that floods the landscape simultaneously from millions of disconnected locations. Left entirely to natural forces, this combination guarantees the complete collapse of the global food supply under its own weight. The intervention mechanism designed to rescue food from these natural threats is called agricultural marketing. It rarely involves advertising. It is the physical and economic bridge linking the rural farm to the non-farm world. This diagram shows how that bridge functions. To save a raw crop from decay, the marketing system injects four specific types of economic value, known as utilities, into the product: place, time, form, and possession. First is place utility. By physically shifting heavy goods from a region of surplus to a region of need, transportation systems neutralize the sheer bulk and scattered nature of farming, making the crop useful to distant buyers. Next is time utility. To neutralize the massive harvest glut, the system relies on the scale of scientific storage to intercept the crops. Holding grains in these controlled environments stops decay and guarantees a steady supply for the rest of the year. By altering the location and extending the lifespan of the harvest, this infrastructure actively prevents the physical destruction of the food supply. Storage and transport are sometimes insufficient. That is where form utility applies. By processing a raw material into a completely new finished state, the system creates a product that actually lasts. Take raw milk, which spoils in hours. By physically intervening and pressing it into cheese or paneer, you preserve the calories and drastically increase the market value of the original liquid. Finally, there is possession utility. This is the mechanism of buying and selling that ensures ownership transfers from the producer through intermediaries until the finished good arrives in the hands of the end user. This flowchart tracks the system's reverse flow, known as price signals. Every time a consumer pays for these utilities, the market generates demand data and money that moves backward through the intermediaries, straight to the farmer. Agricultural marketing operates as an intelligent feedback loop, supplying farmers with the precise financial data they need to decide which crops to plant for the following season. This entire process reveals a stark economic paradox. The logistics of processing, storing, and moving food absolutely add cost to the final price tag, but those exact same steps give the product its actual worth. When that final transaction crosses the counter, it represents the completion of a truly massive economic balancing act. The system is driven by stakeholders with deeply conflicting interests. The producer demands the highest possible price for their harvest to ensure they can invest in their land and survive. The consumer requires exactly the opposite: a reliable quantity of high-quality food at the lowest possible price to maintain their daily standard of living. Sitting directly between them are the market middlemen, the operators of the cold storage, the transport fleets, and the processing plants, require a steady profit margin to keep that massive logistical engine running. Left unchecked, these opposing forces would break the market. Governments frequently step in as watchdogs, calibrating the rules so the producers, the consumers, and the intermediaries all receive enough value to stay active in the trade. When this heavily negotiated network functions correctly, it minimizes catastrophic resource loss, maximizes the income of rural farmers, and quietly sustains the modern standard of living.